The Maine Coast is home to a variety of communities, such as old fishing villages and historic boom towns that saw their prime during the industrial era back in the 19th century. Nowhere is more emblematic than Stonington, Maine, located in Hancock County in the Mid-Coast region in the middle of Penobscot Bay. Stonington is located on Deer Isle, amidst an archipelago of islands. It is roughly about an hour and 20 minutes south of Bangor and an hour 20 east of Bar Harbor via car. It is accessible via the Deer Isle Sedgwick Bridge in the north of the island. For many, when Maine is mentioned, the first thing that comes to mind is the state's rugged and beautiful coastline. The next thing that comes to mind is usually the charming qualities of the various villages that live along the coast. Stonington fits these characteristics: scenic, charming, and tourist-orientated. However, Stonington wasn't always this way. Historically, it was a bustling boom town for various industries that have grown and then busted over time. The town's past can easily be seen today. I was going through my GoPro footage and I found this shot of Main Street in Stonington. Notice the building off to the right, the yellow one? That's here in the left in this 1907 Stonington postcard. Not much has changed. The same goes for the harbor. This beautiful scenic harbor with now a ferry causeway out in the middle looks exactly the same as this postcard from 100 years ago. The first European explorers in the Penobscot Bay area were led by the Portuguese explorer Estevão Gomez, or in Spanish, Esteban Gomez, who worked for the Spanish crown. He was busy looking for gold and the Northwest Passage in 1521. However, it wasn't until the arrival of the French that European activity began in the bay and the island archipelago in 1613 with the establishment of Castine, about 30 minutes north via car. Here, Europeans came into direct contact with local Abenaki people who would summer on the islands of the bay and winter further up the river. Scott's Landing in the north became the home of the first white settlers from northern Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire by the mid-1750s. They came for the purpose of cultivating the land instead of seafaring. Green's Landing incorporated itself as Stonington on February 18, 1897, named after the various granite quarries that existed there. By 1910, it had reached its peak historical population of 2,000 people. Today, only a bit more than 1,000 people call Stonington home year-round. In its first 70 years, the little village barely changed, until 1870, when granite quarrying became a major occupation, turning Little Green's Landing into a boom town. Italians moved in, implementing their stone cutting and mason skills from the Old World, and established multiple in-town quarries throughout the island. Increased demand led to numerous offshore quarries as well, including Crotch Island, which is still in operation today. Crotch Island, during this time of the late 1800s, provided work for an estimated 10,000 to 15,000 people, from those physically cutting the stone out of the quarry to those using the stone on various projects, some of which you might know, including Brooklyn Bridge, Holyoke Dam in Massachusetts, the Rockefeller Fountain Bowl, the JFK Eternal Flame, and parts of Yankee Stadium. Settlement Quarry, Green Island Quarry, and St. Helena's Island Quarry are some of the largest and best-known quarries of the time. A fun fact about this island group and the Maine Coast in general is that every single nook and cranny has a place name. In Stonington alone, we have West Deer Isle, West Stonington, South Deer Isle, and Oceanville. Today, Stonington's industry relies heavily on fishing and lobstering. It was the #1 fishing port in the state from 2017 to 2021, and in 2022, it came in with a whopping $73.27 million in income for the state. Okay, there you go. What do you guys think of this?
5 big booms!
Boom! There we go.
Boom! 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 Boom!
I think this captures the duality of life that we're stuck in every day.
Elaborate, Ryan.
We spend our entire lives being told it's the office job, it's the money that counts. But sometimes it's just sitting on a rocky beach in middle of nowhere, Maine. Okay? Sometimes that's just enough to really
Do you really want to see middle of nowhere? This is not middle of nowhere.
Nope.
But you know what
While Stonington is not considered the middle of nowhere, Maine, to fellow Mainers, it is still isolated. Located all the way down the Blue Hill Peninsula, connected to the mainland by just a 2-lane bridge on the north end of the island, and then taking a series of winding roads another 20 to 30 minutes down the island to the quiet, winding streets of the downtown, Stonington isn't as accessible as it was 100 to 150 years ago during its boomtown era, when vessels traveled daily from the city of Boston and neighboring Rockland. While less than 10 square miles of Stonington's territory is land, more than 30 square miles is all ocean territory. This is because Stonington is part of the Merchants Row archipelago. This archipelago and these land features have not been conducive to growth due to the lack of arable land for agriculture and the lack of suitable land for development. These features are all due to the glacial period that ended in Maine somewhere between 14,000 to 12,000 years ago. This period saw the coast spread miles inland and then miles back out to the sea as the land fluctuated after being weighed down by heavy ice sheets. As the land sunk back down and settled in the last of this land fluctuation, it left a series of high rises, hills, and mountains submerged underwater, creating the archipelago and the island that Stonington calls home today. My friends and I visited Stonington just at the end of the off-season at the end of April. We'd recommend that if you plan on visiting Stonington, on-season might have more things to do, as many shops didn't open until May 15th or by the end of May, Memorial Day. However, there's still plenty of things to do, plenty of walking trails down to isolated beaches, and you can walk around the downtown, and there's free parking.
That's the thing that I love about growing up. Everyone waves.
Yeah.
Everyone
And
waves.
people don't do that in any other state.
Nope.
Yeah,
Connecticut
like when
that
a
does not
girl
happen.
waits for me to like pass the road and I wave at them, and anywhere else they give me a look of like.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Well, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share. I'm starting to get back into the groove of things and plan on posting a video every Sunday at 2 p.m. So stay on lookout for notifications on Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube. Thank you and have a groovy day.